The United States just announced major new tariffs, and if you plan to travel anytime soon, this could quietly hit your wallet. Airfare, luggage, even your airport shopping, all about to get more expensive. But here's what no one's talking about yet. While the headlines focus on global trade battles, there are ripple effects already forming that could directly impact your next trip. In this video, I'll break down exactly what's changing, why it matters, and the smart moves you can make now to stay one step ahead. Let's get started. The United States government has rolled out sweeping tariffs that affect imports from more than 20 countries. This isn't just one country or one product. It's a wide-reaching policy shift. And while it may sound like just another trade move for travelers, it could quietly reshape the cost of getting from point A to point B. Here's a quick overview. China now faces a massive 34% tariff on electronics and key manufacturing supplies. That alone affects hundreds of everyday items, including things we use constantly while traveling. The European Union has been hit with 20% tariffs on aircraft parts, wine, and luxury goods. The United Kingdom, India, Japan, and South Korea are all seeing smaller hikes, mostly on textiles, machinery, and specialized tools. And here's the key point. This isn't speculation. These tariffs were officially confirmed by the United States Trade Representative. So these changes are real, and they're already taking shape. Let's start with your biggest travel expense, flights. It's no secret that airline ticket prices have been rising over the past few years, but now there's another pressure point. Airlines like Delta, JetBlue, and even some American carriers rely on Airbus planes for international routes. And those planes just became more expensive to maintain thanks to the new 20% tariff on European aircraft parts. It's not just the plane itself, it's replacement parts, repairs, service components, all of that adds up. Industry experts are already predicting that transatlantic fares could rise by 10 to 15% in the coming months, particularly on routes to and from Europe. Summer 2025 is shaping up to be a busy travel season, and demand is already high. That means airlines may not hesitate to pass those costs on to travelers. And remember, airlines adjust their pricing models quarterly. So here's your first smart move. If you're planning an overseas trip to Europe or Asia, book your flights now. Lock in today's rates before the next round of adjustments comes into effect. Now let's talk about your travel gear, the things you carry with you every time you board a plane. Most luggage, travel tech, and accessories are manufactured in China. With a 34% tariff now in place on Chinese imports, brands that rely on Chinese factories are facing tough decisions. Companies like Samsonite, Away, Anchor, and countless no-name Amazon sellers will likely raise prices to offset the new costs. And here's where it gets sneaky. They might not do it all at once. Some brands will quietly shrink discount margins. Others will raise prices on new additions. Some might even keep prices the same but cut corners on quality or materials. That's why this is the time to shop smart. If you're in the market for a new carry-on, a power bank, noise-canceling headphones, or even basic travel adapters, don't wait. Analysts expect price hikes in the 20 to 30% range over the next 6 to 12 months. Buying your essentials now could easily save you $100 or more. Next up, airport extras. Let's face it, we've all browsed the duty-free section or ordered a cocktail mid-flight. But those little luxuries are also affected by the new tariffs. Take that bottle of French wine in the duty-free store. It's imported from the EU and now faces a 20% tariff. That $35 bottle might soon be closer to $42 or more. And those in-flight purchases? Airlines buy liquor and snacks in bulk. Higher costs on imports from Europe, especially wine and spirits, will inevitably make their way onto your bill. But here's where being an informed traveler pays off. First, if you enjoy bringing wine home from a trip, buy it at a local store before heading to the airport. TSA allows sealed bottles in checked bags, so you're not restricted to duty-free. And second, check if the airport you're flying from has happy hour pricing or in-terminal offers. Many domestic airport bars and lounges aren't affected by these import tariffs and might be a better deal than buying on board. Now let's talk about something less obvious, but just as important, visa fees and international travel policies. During the last trade war in 2018, the European Union raised visa fees for American travelers in response to U.S. tariffs. Fast forward to now, and that kind of retaliation is back on the table. As of mid-2024, a Schengen visa already costs €90 for US citizens, following a recent increase. If tensions continue, that could rise to €100 or more, and not just in Europe. China, for instance, currently charges $140 for a US tourist visa. That number hasn't changed in years, but if relations worsen, that could shift quickly. Here's the strategy. If you're even considering travel to Europe, China, or any country that requires a visa, apply now. Even if you don't have exact dates locked in, many visas offer flexible travel windows. You could save money and avoid surprise policy changes that pop up mid-year. There's another cost factor that's flying under the radar: currency shifts and travel insurance. When global markets react to economic uncertainty, exchange rates can fluctuate quickly, and that's exactly what's happening now. Following the tariff announcement, markets dropped and investors moved to the US dollar for safety. A stronger US dollar might sound great if you're American, but it makes travel more expensive for Canadians, Europeans, and others exchanging their currency into dollars. And then there's travel insurance. Premiums are set based on market conditions, political stability, and economic forecasts. If insurers sense more volatility ahead, especially with the fear of a recession, we could see rate hikes. Some providers have already begun reevaluating their pricing for international coverage going into late 2025. If you're planning a trip abroad, it's smart to get a few insurance quotes now and consider locking in a fixed-rate plan before prices rise. Now, before we wrap up, let's make sure we don't create panic where it isn't needed. Some parts of travel are still unaffected, for now. TSA rules haven't changed. Domestic flights remain stable. Airlines like Southwest and Alaska Airlines use US-made Boeing planes, which aren't impacted by these international tariffs. Most hotels and Airbnb properties aren't immediately affected either. But, and this is important, if hotel suppliers start paying more for imported goods like sheets, coffee, and mini-fridge snacks, those costs could eventually trickle into room rates. So while the core booking might look stable today, hidden fees could slowly creep in later. So let's bring this all together. Here's your action plan. Book your international flights as early as possible. Shop for travel gear now before tariffs hit the shelves. Skip inflated duty-free prices when you can. Apply for visas ahead of time to lock in current rates. And check your travel insurance before providers adjust their coverage models. These small decisions could add up to big savings in the months ahead. And now, I want to hear from you. Have you already noticed higher prices on flights, gear, or airport shopping? Drop your experience in the comments. We're building a community of travelers who help each other stay ahead. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe to The Informed Traveler, because we don't just report the news, we help you beat it. Safe travels, and I'll see you in the next update.